Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a new installment of mpmX in Focus. Today, we're talking about digital twins in organizations. I'm Boris, I'm your host, and my guest today is Constantin. Hi, Constantin.
Hey guys, hi Boris.
Hey, Constantin, why don't you just introduce yourself to our audience? I'm sure most of them already know you, but just for the few.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi, welcome everyone. My name is Constantin. I'm the Chief Product Officer of mpmX at Merwork. We are a leading process mining and process excellence platform, delivering analytics, process mining, and AI to our customers. And yeah, I'm really happy to talk about the DTO today. A really interesting topic. I'm in the data analysis and process mining business for more than 10 years now, and this topic often comes up. And on the one hand, some customers are doing fancy stuff with it. Others are doing not that much with it. So we decided to talk about that maybe a little bit in general. And
All
yeah,
right.
so I'm here.
Cool. Thanks very much. So you've just said that you've been in the process mining and analytics space for a while. So I've heard of digital twins, I don't know, for the past 10, 15 years. Something
Yeah.
it all started back in the industry 4.0. I don't know which point release we are right now, but with IoT and digital twins of products and machines. And so DTO, another digital twin. So what does it mean, just for the few people who might not
Yeah.
be familiar
Yeah.
with the term?
Yeah, I mean, a good explanation is just to compare it with the already known digital twin, like you have it in products. I mean, what is it? It's having digital twins and digital traces from a product, from everything that happens in a product, in a kind of a data lake, or in a digital view. And it's exactly the same when you talk about the digital twin of an organization. So that means it's kind of like when you have a product and you know everything that happens inside the product, you know everything that happens inside an organization. From starting from the functions that you have, starting from the interactions between people, also called processes, having all the interfaces happening there, but having also information about the IT systems that are underneath the process, and everything that comes into place when we look at an organization. And what makes this organization at the end happen. And this, in the digital way described, is what we mean with the digital twin of an organization. And the topic is, you often have to think about what kind of data is it, and I think this is something we'll talk about later as well. And how can this be in the best case be visualized, or in the best case be built. But at the end, the digital twin of an organization just describes digitally what makes the organization happen.
Okay, so it's a digital representation of how an organization works, kind of like taking the operating model and transforming it into a digital model to then do things with it. So what are just like in a few sentences, what are the main use cases you would use a DTO for, right? So now you have this model, this twin.
Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned before, it depends a little bit what kind of view or perspective you have on the digital twin of an organization, because I mean, we also have the assets in place in an organization, like starting with typical things like ERP system. And when you have something like that in place, you can utilize this representation for different things. I mean, starting with things like you have the business process models, where you describe how the organization is organized, with the typical, not that digitalized, but somehow digital representation of how do functionalities, organizational parts work together. On the other hand, you have all the transactional data from ERP systems, CRM systems, whatever. And of course, you can utilize this data in there for improving the organizational performance, which then, for example, means you have better processes in regards to sales order processing, in regards to invoice processing, in whatever. And I mean, this is where we come into place, talking about process mining and AI and so on. We say, okay, we can use this data for these specific kind of use cases. But there are really different use cases you can utilize, and of course it depends a lot. What are your strategic goals at the moment in your organization? What you want to achieve or what you want to improve, and depending on that, you can utilize this DTO a lot.
All right. So in my research for today, I've seen that the this term has been around for a while now, but it's currently spiking. Can you explain what's changing in the market or in technology that this is coming up more and more again?
Yeah. I mean, everybody is talking about AI at the moment, and Gen AI and so on. And what many people say is, if you want to utilize things like AI in a really valuable way, you need the right data and a good kind of clean data and so on and so on. And the thing is, having a digital twin of an organization is the best baseline situation to start with things like AI, right? Because you have this digital twin, what you then can use for things like AI. And I think this is one of the reasons why the DTO is at the moment a lot, or there is more focus on it, because this is a really good basis for things like generative AI. And on the other hand, we have in the meantime all the compute power, all the hyperscaler power and all that stuff to really process this huge amount of data that automatically occurs when you have this digital twin of an organization. I mean, because we are talking about terabytes of data, and in the past it was quite hard to process all these data in a performant and usable way. In the meantime, we have this power. We can utilize the data in a way better and more performant way. And these two things, I guess, are one of the key reasons why it's how you said, spiking at the moment, and more in a more in a common sense at the moment than before.
Well, it sounds like I don't know, a pretty big project, right? So to build a digital twin of an organization. So if I just pull like the parallels to where IoT and Industry 4.0 and all these things were back in 2016, 17, 15, maybe, in the time that these things were trending. And lots of people had real difficulties creating this this to a level where it ultimately really created loads of value for an organization. I mean, it's changed today. Like with IoT is not something that is, I don't know, something special anymore, right? So all of our phones, everything has got so many sensors broadcasting data all the time. Everything is turned into like a smart device. So kind of what we were laughing about, like network coffee makers and stuff like that is a reality now, right? So looking at the digital twin of an organization, the effort that had to go into these projects for IoT back in the day, how is it comparing to where we are right now with? So what does it mean for an organization to build their DTO effort wise?
Yeah, the great thing is, from my opinion, I mean, when we had this verticalization and this Industry 4.0 stuff, and the product DTs in the past, the key challenge was to generate all the data and to bring it into place in a valuable way. Because what many companies did was just generate data and just store it in any kind of data lake, but without really good structure and with no strategic goal. They just did it, right? And then they thought about, what could I do with it? And then they saw, I maybe collected the wrong data or not the right data and so on. And when we talk about the DTO now, it's way better because we already have lots of data in place from all these transactional systems that are already running in the organizations. I mean, I'm not talking about a 5 people company which is still doing everything paper-based. I mean, we're talking about mid-sized and upper mid-sized and large enterprise companies that where all of them have already ERP, CRM systems and so on in place. And the data that is in these systems can already be used for the DTO. So that means when you talk about what's the effort to bring something in place for that, the effort is not that big because we can already utilize the existing data. Of course, it's good to think about what more kind of data should we generate or should we take into place. But My experience from the projects that we have with our customers is that in the real life, we already have 80-90% of all the data that we can use for the first really good use cases where you bring really value out of it. Yeah, because we have it already there. You just have to use it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this means that the huge difference is that we have like tons of organizations who are already collecting loads of data. They're now collecting it in a structured way.
Yeah.
We see that data integration tools, data platforms like cloud data warehouses, cloud storage is exploding currently, and this is also an indicator for the availability of most of the resources that you need to go in this direction. So, talking about infrastructure, how would you go about building a DTO, and do you need to like create a digital twin of your entire organization first, or can you do that step by step? What's a good way to handle this topic?
Yeah, the great thing is that you can really start with specific use cases where you have your strategic goals. As I mentioned before, it's always good to know where you wanna head to in your strategy. At the moment, we often see companies struggling with their supply chains, for example, or with cost efficiency and so on. So that what we do is we generate a kind of a use case pipeline where we really estimate what could be the value or what's the value potential in these use cases. So that, and then we have a ranking and the prioritization where we can decide, okay, let's, for example, start with a dedicated process like order to cash or invoice to cash or whatever, or even more core value processes like in the manufacturing space or in the key supply chain, warehousing, logistics, depending where the problems in the organizations are. And starting from there, it's really fast to create the first insight and to create the first transparency into this into the DTO, because we can use the data that is already there and start visualizing how the processes are running, which resources are involved. Yeah, and this is something. I mean, it's one of the things that we are really good with our process excellence platform, to really combine the data sources and bring transparency into the end-to-end process in a really fast manner. And then we have the ability to really look cross-dimensional through all these topics that are really interesting and define the right process performance indicators, define the right KPIs and so on. And that's really fast. So you don't have to do the big bang. Yeah, you can just start step by step, process by process.
You've just touched on something that reminded me of a talk like this that I had a couple of weeks ago with another colleague about OCPM, object-centric process mining.
Yeah.
That was about like how process mining has evolved into something that doesn't only look at a single stream, a single process, but integrates a multitude of these, right? And this is kind of reminds you what you just said, that the integration of data, the integration of processes creates a far more reliable and a far more concrete picture of what the actual organization works like. So I would assume that this is a significant step towards creating a digital twin of an organization as well.
Yeah, using OCPM is really key because it makes the digital twin way more realistic, right? So the old school process mining, where you don't have the ability to do object-centric process mining, is you really have to flatten the process that happens in your organization to a single event log and a single case ID. And by using OCPM, you can really map the activities that happen in your organization to the so-called objects, which is at the end, for example, the right departments and so on. And this makes the digital twin way more closer to reality, which it of course then makes way more easier for the people to understand what they see. And it also has a big advantage, as we talked before, because you can start with a single process and enhance it step by step by just adding more objects, right? Because you can just focus on, for example, the invoice to cash in the beginning, and then you have a relation to the orders, and then you just add the relation to the order, and so it gets a way bigger and bigger picture, and it gets more complete, so that you have the digital twin of the full organization step by step. And this is what why we decided really early to provide object-centric process mining in our product. I mean, there's a reason why we already had that in 2019 or 20 already, because it was this it's a key difference, not only from a technical part of the house, but also for the end users and for the understanding what really happens in your organization.
Okay, so to create the digital representation of your organization, you need to have loads of data. So this is because you're not designing a digital twin, you're deriving it from how you're actually working, right? So then you can use OCPM to create or derive an integrated view of your processes based on the data that you're actually generating by doing things every day. And yeah. And then you're able to take these models to do what? So I kind of like, I mean, it's probably a bit not entirely right to say that OCPM kind of is a DTO because it's only a method to get to it, right? Yeah, exactly. But how do you now generate value, right? So now you have this thing now, you have this these interconnected processes, all of these. How do you find out what to do next? So now we're getting to the use case bit in a way, right? Or
yeah, of course, it depends a little bit where you have the issues in your processes or where you want to head on. But of course, typical things are to optimize throughput time, for example. Yeah, but often it's hard to decide. I can optimize process time, but where should I put the focus on? Yeah, and this is where we always encourage to combine the process analysis or this digital twin with the business KPIs, because the business KPIs, they make the DTO more complete because they are also an important part of the digital twin of an organization. I mean, there's a reason why companies are somehow or the performance of companies are estimated based on P&Ls and all these financial KPIs. I mean, they tell you a lot. What's the performance of the organization? And the problem is always you don't see the root causes and the underlying things. And by combining, for example, these business KPIs, like you have it in your P&L with the process performance, this really makes it more 360 degrees of this DTO. And this is why we always say, hey, and which is, by the way, a big strength from our platform. We put both into account and put both in place for really doing the right things. Because when we want to optimize a throughput time, we can now say, hey, maybe I should focus on the throughput times where I have a big invoice volume in it, because when I optimize this, my days of sales outstanding are significantly better when I focus on specific product groups, material groups, countries, whatever, where I have these issues, than when I just do it, by ranking. I don't know, the first process that comes into my mind. I don't know.
Sorting by alphabet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
We'll also have an outcome for sure. Yeah, but maybe the impact is way bigger when sorting by invoice volume, for example.
All right. So having like the entirety of your business intelligence, all of the information, all of these KPIs is telling you what is in your organization, and then you have the process side of these things that tells you how these KPIs come to pass, and which things are actually having an influence and influencing these KPIs in a significant manner, so that you know where you need to approach specific processes, specific things that your organization is doing to actually measure the outcomes. Can you say two things about the DTO as well, right? So now you have this model. We said we derive it, we don't design it. So I guess there still is probably most of the time a better way of doing things than we are currently doing it. I guess, being honest, this is probably true in most of the cases, right? So you would need to have an ability to design and then also check or maybe get like a way to validate how what you're trying to achieve is actually coming to pass or not. So how will a DTO help you along this way then?
Yeah, I mean, it's our approach to derive it in the first place, as we say, hey, it's a way more the way more efficient or effective way, as you don't have to put too much manual effort in it in the beginning. But of course, at a certain point of time, it's always good to make a step back and think about, hey, now I have the knowledge, what really happens in my organization. What should I change in regards to the processes? And at this point of time, it's good to talk about how you want to design your target organization system, right? Because when you do that, you really get a good fit gap analysis and a good comparison to understand, hey, how much is missing until I reach my goal, and what should I maybe should I adjust my goal when things are changing in the world, and we have to adapt. It's the usual things in organization. We are always adapting organizations based on the things that are happening. I'm not sure if that was exactly the question or if it goes in the right direction, but this is how we often do it. So it's like a continuous improvement circle. And by starting with a specific use case and a specific point, it often gets more and more a full picture, and you then start really building the organization, or are really designing things more and more as you have a good knowledge at a certain point of time what really happens there, because you can use that for a better design, right? That's okay. This kind of circle that you have.
All right. So we're coming to the end of our time. I want to conclude, or I want to summarize a little bit of what I've taken away now. So it's like a DTO is a digital twin of an organization, which represents the way of how we're doing things by doing process analyses and what is happening while we're doing these things, by doing business intelligence, measuring KPIs, and then integrating both of them to really understand where there is currently potential that we can leverage. Technological changes like AI drive the requirements of a DTO, because we see that AI requires clean data, and we only can really automate things that are already working properly, right? Somebody said, I think I've said it in the last one as well, I say a digitalized crap process is still a crap process, right? So if you throw AI at something that's not really working properly, you will have something that's really expensive but still not working properly, right? So ironing things out by doing the analysis bit first is really important. And then another technological advance, which is OCPM, is driving the ability to actually create valuable DTOs, is bringing us to a point today where we can actually leverage all of this and get to a really good point. All right. Yeah. So from your experience in the market and with products and everything that you've seen in process science in these past years that you've been in the field, what would you say are the 3 most important things about DTOs that people should be taking away from what we've been talking about today?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is just start using the data you already have. I mean, that's the great thing in our actual era that we have. I mean, we have the tools, we have the power, and we have the data already. We can just use it. We just have to start. Yeah? So this is the first thing I would definitely recommend. And tools like mpmX are really, really easy to start with, and you generate so much value in so short time. For us, it's a no-brainer. So really, really good. The next thing is when you are talking seriously about AI initiatives, you should really think about to combine it with process mining. I mean, as you mentioned before, having this combination makes the DTO really valuable, and it gives the AI the ability to understand what really happens in the organization. It's like a catalyst for AI. I mean, having the the computer science understanding what is really happening in your organization by understanding the processes through technology like process mining, and then leveraging AI for making it accessible for end users that are not SQL geeks. Yeah, it's really valuable. So this is the second thing I would say. And yeah, the third thing is maybe don't take this DTO slogan too big. Yeah, I mean, as you said initially, you often compare it with this industrialization, verticalization, industry 4.0 stuff, and the digital twin of a product. And yeah, it's really easier than that, in my opinion. I mean, maybe people disagree, but what we see in organizations, it's the way to achieve value out of it is way easier than in the old digital twin things, or the old digital twin world. Yeah.
I think you made one argument that kind of like knocks the entire thing out of the park, which is back then we still had to put sensors into everything. Then we had to collect data for years to actually be able to do anything with all of this information.
Yeah.
We've been collecting data about what we're doing in an organization already for ages, right? So we have the sensors. We're currently looking at one, and we've been using tons of them all the time today. Some of them are called ERP, others are called CRM, and whatever. Yeah. So I don't see any questions or comments. If anybody has any, just post them. Otherwise, post them afterwards, and we'll get back onto them and then be in touch about it. So thank you for taking the time and explaining this to me and to everyone else. I'm very, very glad that you we had the chance to have a chat here. Our next in focus will be during the next week. So watch this spot. We'll let you know when that will be. So thank you all for taking your time today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.